Good morning again, everyone. It's great to be here with all of you today, and I hope you are enjoying this time of year. I know that we've already hit 100 degrees already once or twice this year, but the last few days have been very good. Good start of our summer. It's been a few months since my last talk here in Sacramento, and while Reverend Carol and I still consider Sacramento as our home court, this past week on June 1st, we marked the beginning of our 7th year being assigned to the Marysville Buddhist Church. We're up in Marysville several times a month and are fortunate to have been able to help keep the temple open for service every Sunday. Along with the assistance of Senseis Keith, Calvin, and Gracie, and our very own local Marysville caretaker Jim Edgman, we continue to keep the doors open for our 38 members. So a little smaller here than Sacramento. In opening, would you please join me in Gasho? Self-reflection and developing a true and honest self-awareness is the first step to keeping our minds and heart tidy and trash-free. If we can practice this, our journey will be just a little lighter and not so cluttered with unnecessary items, and hopefully with less impact upon those around us. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. So this past April 22nd, we celebrated Earth Day. How many of you knew that there is actually something called Earth Day? Okay, so most everybody. Since each year since 1970, April 22nd, Earth Day, is simply a day set aside to be mindful, mindful about the earth and our interdependence, our oneness upon everything on the planet Earth. Today, Earth Day is observed in over 190 countries, so we are truly a part of a global community, acting locally, but thinking globally about the planet that we all share. So today, in keeping this in mind, I'd like to talk about something that we all have in our house. Even as I speak right now, we have this in our house. So what could it be? Do we all have a refrigerator in our house? Yeah, that's not it. Do we all have bathrooms in our house? No. We all have front doors, but that's not it either. Today, I'm going to do something, I'm going to talk about trash. Today, we're going to do some trash talking. So not the kind that you probably saw this last week when the Warriors won their championship. We're going to talk about real trash. So if you know me, you know that I like to talk about stats and trivia. So here's some trash talk and some numbers. Did you know that each year Americans generate around 251 million tons of trash each and every day? That means each day, each person in the United States makes or tosses out 4.38 pounds of trash every day. That seems like a lot, huh? 4.5 pounds of trash per person. I'd say that we're pretty good about getting rid of our trash, huh? Pretty good. So how many of you out there today are in charge of taking out the trash in your house? Okay, a lot of good people. So what happens when you don't take it out timely? What happens? It gets a little smelly. I see people doing this. It gets bigger, and maybe it causes us to lose a little focus, huh? And those of you, those in the house that expect you to take care of business, what happens to them? They get a little ill-tempered, huh? Tell us to take the trash out. So while I do a pretty good job of taking the trash out in our house, one of my biggest failures in trash and waste management is after I take the trash out, I always forget to what? Put a new bag in, huh? I always forget to put a new bag in. But even this trash is not the kind of trash I'm talking about today. I'd like to talk about the trash and unneeded burdens that we all carry around and how Buddhism teaches us how to take out our trash. It was just a little over 4 years ago, during one of our morning meditation sessions, that one of our Marysville members, Jim White, made the comment that meditation and developing our own self-awareness, hitting that self-reflection pause button, allows us to take out and dump what we were carrying around. Kind of like taking out our own personal trash, huh? I even said at the time, hey Jim, that's a good Dharma talk, so I give him full credit. So what type of trash am I really talking about today? Have you ever heard the term that someone's carrying around a lot of baggage? We've all heard that term, huh? And I think that baggage and trash are one and the same. I think the same can be said for people who hold on to anger or hold a grudge or just can't seem to let something go. They talk about an event, a person, or an issue that happened days, months, even years ago, all like it happened yesterday. And I think Buddhism teaches us how to better live our life with as little trash as possible. And to do this, we of course have to turn our thoughts inward. We have to turn our thoughts inward. People will often ask me, what do you think the primary practice of Buddhism is? And to me, I think our primary practice is simply self-reflection. Turning our thoughts and our observations inward to really try to develop an awareness of ourselves, self-awareness. Continuously asking ourselves very difficult questions, such as, what am I thinking? How am I feeling? How am I reacting to something or someone? And maybe most importantly, why am I reacting this way? Taking just a little time each and every day in self-reflection, leading to self-awareness, develops our ability to let it go and to empty our trash. So recently, as I do quite often, I was online, I was on YouTube, and I was watching a TED Talk. How many of you are familiar with TED Talks? Okay, good. A lot of good. And this specific talk was given by David Pillay. And I'm not sure if Pillay is a philosophic comedian, or a comedian with a thoughtful side, or just someone who's a deep thinker with a good sense of humor. It doesn't matter. He gave a talk on garbage trucks, okay? And Pillay asked in his talk, what if I'm really good at getting rid of my own trash, trying to keep my mind and my life as free as trash as possible, but there might be a problem. Free of trash, what happens when we want to spread gratitude, be happy, but someone around you, not everyone, but someone around you, wants to spread their garbage on you? Ew, huh? That's right. It's kind of gross. Good job. When I heard this, I thought, uh-oh, I've only been talking and thinking about getting rid of my own trash, shedding some of my baggage. But really, we have to be very careful what we do with our own trash. And not simply because we don't want to become someone who becomes a garbage truck. What do we do when we come into contact with bad drivers, rude waiters, bad bosses, bad customer service people? What do we do when we're doing all the right things in our own life and someone comes around and tries to ruin our day? What do we do about that? And I think this is really a real issue. We too don't want to be that garbage dumper, huh? Getting rid of trash is a good thing, but we can't become that person. So back to this TED Talk. Mr. Pillay introduces the law of the garbage truck with this simple story. And the story goes like this. While in New York City, Mr. Pillay jumps into a cab driven by a talkative and very nice cab driver. Something kind of rare in New York City, huh? While traveling to their destination, a car suddenly pulls out in front of them, and the cab driver slams on the brakes and narrowly misses a collision. Even though it was clearly not the cab driver's fault, the driver of the other car, the person at fault, gets out and starts berating the cab driver like it was his fault. The cab driver just sat there for a brief moment, smiled, and he waved to the other driver. Suddenly, all the yelling stopped. The other driver got into his car and drove off. Mr. Pillay sat there a bit bewildered and then asked the cab driver, how can you stay so calm, especially when it was the other driver's fault? The taxi driver responded with this, and he said that some people, not all people, but some people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of frustration, anger, and even sometimes full of disappointment. And as they get full of this garbage, they simply do what garbage trucks do. They look for a place to what? To dump it. And if you let them, they will dump it on you, huh? They'll dump it on you. They'll dump it on us. So when someone wants to dump on us, we shouldn't take it personally. We should just smile, wave, and wish them well, because they probably really need it. The most important part here is to simply move on. Move on and move forward. Don't let them dump their garbage on us. Don't take their garbage and add to our own so that we too don't become garbage trucks. Mr. Play shared that he just sat in the back of the cab thinking about his own life and thinking about the following question. How often do I let garbage trucks run over me? How often do I let them dump their garbage? And how often do I take their garbage and spread it to other people? For me, I know that I don't want other people's garbage, and I don't want to spread it to anyone else. And what the really interesting part here is that how many of you all know garbage trucks? How many of you know garbage trucks? Be honest, we all know garbage trucks. And usually we can hear them and see them coming, just like real garbage trucks. So if you're up early in our neighborhood on a Friday, and you see the garbage truck coming to stop at your house, this is what I do. I simply wave, smile at the garbage person, and let them do their job, and move on. This is what we can all do when we see those people who often act as garbage trucks in our lives. Smile, wave, wish them well, and then move on. Again, we have to all remember, and I know this is especially for me, that I have to remember to not take personally the negative things that we can't control. We choose our response in our life, and it doesn't have to include garbage. And together, we can work to be more aware of our own trash, our own garbage, and we should try to shed this trash from our lives. We still need to think of the impact that we have upon all living things on this earth and be responsible to where we dump our own trash. So to close out today, I'd like to do just a very short reflection meditation. So let's just do a short meditation. And for those of you who got here early today, Sensei Kelvin ran a short meditation service today. So every Sunday, 8 o'clock, 8:30. Okay, so if you want more exposure to meditation and not garbage, please come Sundays at 8:30, and we will be here for a short meditation. Well, let's do a very short meditation this morning. Let's think about our trash and empty some of it if we can, but we need to be mindful of where we dump it. So let's everybody sit up straight, move your back away from the back of the seat, feet flat on the ground, hands on our laps, and let's slow our breathing a bit. Nice, slow, even breaths. Eyes maybe just halfway closed, it's not nap time. And while we relax and slow our breathing, let's just simply ask ourselves these simple questions. Right now, what am I carrying? Right now, what trash do I have in my trash bag? Am I carrying something from this morning? Something that's been nagging at me for a day, a week, a month, or a year? And while I may want to keep this lesson learned from the trash experience, I want to keep maybe just the lesson. And what part of this is simply trash? What's weighing me down and keeping me from living with my Dharma eyes wide open? Again, right now, what am I carrying? Okay, so even if you're just able to find just one little tiny bit of trash this morning, can you let it go? Can you simply let it go? Are you able to empty some of the trash that I know that we all carry each and every day? How many of you found a little trash? Did you find a little trash? A little bit? Just a little trash. So today, the first step, we've already just taken, huh? We've all spent just a few minutes, just a couple short minutes, just acting in that mode of self-awareness. So I think it's good for us all to try to remember to take the time to sit down at least once or twice each and every day, clear our schedule for just a few moments, and spend some time with just ourselves. When we do this, we need to ask ourselves the difficult questions. And there are difficult questions. Asking ourselves what's on our mind, how am I reacting to it, why am I reacting to it, and am I able to learn something, and then toss the rest. Learn to let it go. In a way, I think this is maybe what the historical Buddha meant with his teachings. By following the path that our teacher showed us, we allow ourselves to be better trash managers. Okay. So again, thank you all for being here this Sunday morning. I would like to ask all of you to please join me in closing Gassho. With our practice of self-reflection and developing self-awareness, we practice the path to letting our trash go. I will challenge myself to make time each and every day to look at what I am carrying and ask if I really need it. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.